Though you soar like the eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. The book of Obadiah is an oracle of judgment against the nation of Edom. Edomites are descendants of Esau, and Israelites are descendants of Jacob. This is the Esau and Jacob who are the sons of Isaac and Rebekah. Jacob was born clutching the heel of Esau's foot. Conflict between these two brother nations began with conflict between their brother patriarchs. Obadiah begins with criticizing Edom for their pride. Edom's high view of themselves is poetically expressed by the physically high living places among the mountains. God's judgment is meant to humble them. God tells Edom, the pride of your heart has deceived you. Edom's allies and friends will turn against them. The wise men and warriors will not be able to save them from God's judgment. When robbers come into the city, they will be able to take as much as they want. Edom believes that they are wise and strong and that through their own power they can stand. God shows them differently. God's judgment also comes because of Edom's improper treatment of their brother nation, Judah. When God's judgment was on Judah, Edom let other nations take Judah's wealth before joining in and pillaging Judah themselves. Obadiah speaks against taking advantage of the vulnerable by taking wealth by force. Edom took advantage of Judah when Judah needed their help. God makes it clear that the day of the Lord will come for all nations, that no nation is outside of God's reign. The book ends with hope for Israel, that they will be restored in the land. We see a great poetic flow throughout the book. Obadiah begins with God humbling and destroying Edom, and ends with God rising up and restoring Israel. It is God's right to bring down and raise up nations. When we become prideful, when we start believing that we have made a name for ourselves apart from the will and the power of God, God reminds us that God is in charge of all things. In the end, the kingdom will be the Lord's. God wants us to choose to be a kingdom of the Lord and to live in alignment with the righteous ways of God. But when we choose to be a kingdom of ourselves and to live in opposition to God's ways, then we bring about the judgment of God on ourselves. Obadiah's warning about pride echoes into our churches today. Edom's pride was believing that they had built themselves up apart from God. As a church, we are tempted to believe that we are better than others because we stand alongside of God. We boast against groups that God humbles. We rejoice over the destruction of people who do evil. For it is better to be with God, and there is rejoicing to be found in the destruction of evil. To boast about being better than people, or to rejoice over the destruction of people, is not in alignment with the righteous ways of God. Our role is to help bring people to God and to bring restoration and healing to people who find themselves in the midst of destruction.